Minnesota, and we can speak to retired General Joseph Votel, former commander in the U.S. Central Command and now senior fellow at the Middle East Institute. Thanks very much to you for coming on the programme. Can I get your assessment then on these strikes in terms of their timing, the fact that they were announced in advance, and indeed the scale of them?
Sure, thanks, and it's good to be with you. So I think the strikes that we looked at or that we watched take place, this afternoon, U.S. time, were pretty much as we expected here. These targets went, I think, directly after the militant groups and, of course, the Iranian facilitators and leadership and support apparatus that supported those groups that were most directly related to the attack on Tower 22 last weekend. And I think the scope and scale of this was quite large, especially when compared to some of our earlier strikes. And I think the intention was to do as much damage and as much disruption to this militant network as could be done in this first volley of strikes. I think what we'll see is we'll see some follow-ons to this. As you are aware, as your listeners are aware, this is a fairly extensive network that Iran and the militant groups have across Iraq and Syria. So there are lots of opportunities to go after them. In terms of the timing of this, I think there's a variety of things that contribute to this. First and foremost, I think the United States has tried to take a deliberate approach to this, not rush into this, as I think our spokesman at the White House has said. We have consulted with regional partners, to include the Iraqis, about these strikes. Weather plays an issue. The weather has not been great in the area, and in order to improve our targeting and minimize collateral effects of this, we want to, even with sophisticated systems, we want to use the best weather, and likely a period of good weather would support kind of this campaign approach that has been talked about.
And as we've been hearing, John Kirby has said that this is just the beginning in terms of what you might expect to follow, and indeed the response in retaliation to these strikes. I mean, how concerned are you about how far this is going to go, how much this could escalate?
Well, I think everybody is concerned, and I think our government has expressed this, that we are trying to find a way to punish and deter without broadening this into a wider conflict, certainly between the United States and Iran, or add to more instability in what is already a very challenged situation in the Middle East right now. So I think what you saw is going strictly after militant groups and those supporters of them. I think what you'll probably see in the coming days would be kind of an expansion of that, perhaps going after some of the facilitation networks with that, looking at opportunities to get after some of the direct Iranian supporters of that, and then perhaps some other things related to that. I think it's important to appreciate that while we're talking a lot about military options, the United States, as you well know, has a lot of tools available to us in the political realm, in the information realm, in the economic realm. We have cyber capabilities that can be used. And of course, we've got an extraordinary intelligence community that has a lot of capabilities as well. So there's a lot of tools that can be applied to this and done in a fairly surgical fashion to try to achieve our objectives, but yet not propel us into an open conflict with Iran.
Well, and the objective being to stop the attacks on American personnel. And I suppose it's too early perhaps to say whether that's going to happen, right away. Now we've just seen that these first strikes launched. But in terms of Joe Biden and wanting this to be concluded sooner rather than later, this is an election year after all. He will be very keen for this to be sort of concluded as soon as possible, won't he?
Well, certainly. I think everybody wishes that Iran, who is supporting this network, would get the message and knock it off with these attacks. I think it's unlikely that just one volley of strikes will solve this particular problem. We're going to have to continue to keep pressure on them, and as I mentioned, we have to really leverage all the elements of national power here to try to compel Iran to change not only their behavior but their support to these organizations, and put pressure on the organizations to stop doing that. And we know they can do that. We just saw that with Kataib Hezbollah, one of the principal groups that operates in Iraq, who just within days after this announced that they were stopping attacks against the United States. And I think that's a direct indication that the pressure is on them, and that pressure is largely coming from Iran. So they can do this, and we need to make the message unambiguous to them and very clear. We hold them responsible for this, and then be prepared to exert our will through military means or whatever others that are required until they change their behavior.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us here on BBC News. I really appreciate it, General Joseph Votel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.